Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We have a new teaser from the Wheel of Time Twitter account and it's centered around Rand, Matt and Perrin. Let's give this a watch. Okay.
One of us, the dragon
Nothing
reborn.
The most powerful channeler that ever lived.
Oh wow, Perrin.
You don't believe
Ooh.
that? We can't leave without...
Pretty sure we can. We've got each other. That's it.
Alright, there's a lot in that. There's a lot in that to unwind. A lot more than meets the eye to begin with as well, I believe. But before we break down this teaser, if you're new around here, please consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button down below and turn on notifications because I have a lot of content to come out this week as well as for the next several months. Right, let's break down this trailer. Let's start off with this first clip we've got. Now this is really interesting and kind of difficult to make out. So I think this is when the group are being split up after Shadow the Goth. That's the kind of feel I get because we have Rand in the foreground and I believe just behind Rand we have Matt. Now what's really interesting but also slightly throwing me off is the huge procession, that's the right word, behind them. There's so many people there. Now as to who they could be, it's really hard to tell. We've got like red colours, a lot of red. So you might think initially Red Adger, but I don't believe it is. I think this could just potentially be one of those moments we get in the Eye of the World where Rand and Matt are on their own and they're making their way to Camelin in the books. But as we know in the season 1 of the show, we are not visiting Camelin, so this is potentially on the way to somewhere else. But yeah, that's the way I've kind of feels what's going on here. But what about you guys? Do you think it's something different that I'm missing that is quite obvious? Let me know in the comments. Up next we have a bit of audio from Matt and a few scenes we've already seen of them sitting right outside the wine spring and Matt saying, "One of us, the dragon reborn, the most powerful channeler in the world." Or the most powerful channeler that ever lived. Then we get another look at the Shaddar the Goth moment. Now this is really interesting to me. The next shot after that, it's Rand with Tam, I believe, with the horse, as you can see just to the right. And Rand is obviously drawing an arrow out from his quiver and getting ready to knock it into his bow. And this is one of those scenes we've seen quite a lot of. Again, I think this is kind of the Quarry Road moment where they're going into the village. So I know people have said I could be wrong on this, but it's still what I'm leaning towards. Rand is aiming at something right higher up in the countryside or towards the mountainous region. And if you also notice, we can see what looks to be maybe Rand's dad there, Tam, in the background of this shot. So yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. Then we get a really cool scene with Perrin that I have not seen at all. And this is the a portion of Winternight that I didn't get to watch. We all knew, and I knew that that wasn't the be-all, end-all of the Winternight sequence for the show, because we didn't see a lot of like Matt and Perrin. I mentioned that specifically Perrin was highly kept hidden for obvious reasons, and that is to do with Layla Ibarra, who incidentally I managed to stumble out in the wild today on my travels while doing some shopping. Confirmation of the fact that Perrin and Layla are married, and that also Layla will meet a tragic death during Winternight. I'll probably do a separate video on that, maybe tonight, if you guys would like to see that tonight, or potentially more likely tomorrow for Thursday's video. But yeah, let's get back to this clip. So yeah, a Trolloc has obviously broken into the Master Luwin's, what's the word? Forge? Not forge. armory, forge, I don't know, whatever the bloody word is here. And then as we can see, we finally get a look at Perrin with his axe. So at last we get to see Perrin with his axe, and he's about to get into a little bit of a skirmish with the Trolloc that has broken into the building he's in, which I think is really cool. And then a real fantastic shot to finally see is, of course, the emergence, the beginnings of Perrin Golden Eyes, which I think looks absolutely amazing. It looks so sick. We've got, obviously, Perrin's eyes have now taken on those of a wolf, now that he's come into contact at this point in the show with the wolves, which actually will happen in episode 2 of the first season. I'll cover that in another video as well, because we've got a huge number of stills from the first 3 episodes today on the What Wiki. So in case you guys haven't seen that, I've done a breakdown of the first episode and the stills that came from that. I'll leave a card in the top right corner on that. Then we get a look at the wolf that I mentioned, most likely Hopper. This is where Perrin meets them for the first time. Really cool to see. And then we get a very quick look at the Trolloc attack, another look at Rand during Winternight in the Al4 farmhouse, where he's obviously battling Narg with his father Tam. We get another look at Perrin absolutely getting it in with the Trolloc. He's now obviously gotten the axe right into the Trolloc's, I would say, like torso region, or potentially just like the upper thigh, because we know the Trollocs are so much more taller than the humans. And just look at the blood splatter from that. That looks absolutely amazing. Then after that, we've got another look at Rand and Mat running away from whatever's happening, which I now am fully behind, and I firmly believe this. This is right after Mat and Rand have met Tom in Breen's Spring, if I'm not mistaken. We know Tom will fight a Fade in the inn that they both turn up in, and where they meet Tom. So I think this is the aftermath of that, where they're running away, and we're getting that classic moment we get in the books at Whitebridge, where we get the kind of yelling, screeching sequence with Tom telling the boys to run away as he fights off the Fade, which is really cool to see. Then this shot is really interesting, and I don't know why, but this is to do with like the audio that's been playing in this clip, where obviously now Rand says we can't leave without them, to which Mat replies, yes we can. Or I'm pretty sure we can. And I think this is during Shadar Lagotha they've gotten splitting up, because obviously Rand, Mat are with they're one group, Perrin and Green are another, Lan, Moraine and Nynaeve are the third group. So I'm pretty sure this is what's going on here. And we're kind of seeing the beginnings of the differences between Mat and Rand's characters. Rand is being very selfless, of course, because he's thinking of Green and he's in love with her, as we know in this show, but just, honing in on that relationship a whole lot more than they are in the books. So we're seeing that side of Rand, but we're also seeing the more selfish, is the only way we can put it, the selfish side of Mat, who is kind of only out for himself from the way we can, see and hear and gather in these clips. He looks like he's only out for himself. He doesn't care whether they're in danger or not. I could be a little bit off on that mark, but this is the way I'm feeling they're kind of going with Mat's character. This also comes and stems from all these sorts of bios we've gotten on Mat, with the articles from around the media world. So yeah, this is really interesting to see. And then we get another look at Perrin having a fight with that Trolloc that's entered the forge. Looks really nice. And then this scene is really dark. but I'm pretty certain this is the moment when Egwene and Perrin have jumped or fallen into the river right after the sequence in Shaddai the Goth, which is really cool to see that they're keeping that as book true or book worthy as they can. Really happy and excited to see all of that happening. And then we've got a really interesting passage to end this 28-second teaser we've just gotten. And what's really interesting to me is the expressions on everyone's faces, particularly Matt's. It's quite hard to say where in the story this is in terms of the first season. I would say this is potentially just after they've left the Two Rivers for the first time with the group after Winternight. But yeah, Matt obviously has this really intriguing look on his face, and there's a lot of dialogue to go along with that, where he mentions we've got each other and that's it. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't mean Lan and Moraine in that sentence. He means that as in Egwene, Nynaeve, Rand and Perrin. And just from the look on both Rand and Matt's face, I feel there's like an expression with Rand of concern and potentially with Perrin as well over Matt, because Matt looks to be very distant in this clip, very much in his own thoughts and not communicating with them is the way I look at this and see this. So there's almost like a bit of suspicion going on there. So maybe we're getting quite a different Matt from the books. That's going to be something interesting to see whether that's the case or whether it's just a little bit of, not misdirection because that's the wrong word here, but sort of just the expressions are giving the wrong sense of what's going on for myself at least. Right after that, we've got a very quick sequence of Rand again with the bow and arrow, and then Perrin. I would say this is the initial moment the Trolloc bursts into the forge or the armory with Perrin, because he's obviously he hasn't gotten hold of his axe at this moment. He's just got a barrel that he's basically attacking the Trolloc with. So yeah, it's a really cool clip. It's really nice to see all the shots we're seeing. They are without a doubt keeping everything that they're showcasing to us in the lead up to the premiere and to the lead up of November 19th. Very much centered around, I'd say, the first episode, if not the second as well. So they're keeping a lot of what they have for the majority of the first season under wraps, which is really nice to see. As we know, we don't want to be spoiled as much as possible. We want to have a lot that is unknown to us to be able to watch and have the excitement of not knowing what's going to be happening in the show for episodes 3 through to 8. So that's really cool. But yeah, that is the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed it, obviously please leave a like and comment on the video on any of these images or stills that you might have thoughts and feelings on. I'd love to know and get them. I'll catch you guys all in a video either again later today or Thursday.